Okay, so we're still getting used to the whole looking at you people kind of thing, so you're gonna have to bear with us on that.
Wow, that's your problem.
There's a puppy on the loose, so hi puppy.
Eddie?
But anyway, so yeah, we just wanted to give kind of an update on what's, been going on with the bus. Like, there's been people that have asked us, like, where's the project at? So rather than keep repeating it, we thought it'd be easier just to kind of tell people where it's at.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we brought it to a mechanic on Thursday. Thursday.
Was it Thursday? Okay.
Yeah. Probably Thursday.
Which was super fun. It was so much fun driving the bus because you're up so high. I've always been in this like rinky-dink, super low to the ground Corollas and Civics, so it was super fun.
It was fun for her.
Yeah, he was worried that the solar panels were going to fly off the roofs, which they didn't.
Yeah, they're actually rock solid at the moment. So we brought it to the mechanic.
What do you mean at the moment?
At the moment. But anyways, we brought it to the mechanic to get some work done because behind the scenes we've had a check engine light forever, and when we bought it, they kind of made it sound like it's just probably a sensor, no big deal.
Well, wasn't it that he said that it was on because of like the change to the...
Yeah, so he swapped it from, it was originally gas, brought to propane, then he brought it from propane back to gas, and he said it was probably just related to like a timing or something like that, right? He says like maybe it's a sensor, it's probably a pretty quick fix, and that was kind of our impression.
Yeah.
As we now know, that's not true. So there's a lot of things wrong with it. Everything the previous owner did was wrong. They used the wrong spark plugs and kind of mixed and matched them, which is a no-no. So that's a problem. And also they glued random things onto the spark plugs because they wouldn't fit because they weren't the right ones. So
they glued random things? What did they glue?
Like just random pieces to make them fit.
Oh my gosh.
So they're obviously having to fix all that. Anyways, so that was a problem. Then there's the throttle body, which was probably fine at one time. The problem is it's been messed with too. People are trying to like close up ports they put in for, I think it was for the propane. They had to add extra sensors. Makes sense.
Okay.
So that's being replaced. We didn't know that was a problem either.
Yeah.
Some of the things have to just be replaced because they're old, like half the hoses.
Yeah, didn't he say like there were 40 leaks or something?
Yeah, there's air leaks in like every vacuum, every system. So they're having to replace all the hosing.
But that was just like something that happens with age, right? Like that's not the previous owners.
Aside from that, there's the air intake issue, which we kind of knew about. The problem is it's actually really hard to find parts like that for an 01 Chevy. It's been 21 years, so they don't make them anymore. So besides that, there's some fuel things. Some we were kind of aware of, some not as much. The issue with fueling just kind of plagues us.
Penny, stop. You're gonna make so much background noise. Okay, come.
Our dog's making a little noise.
Penny, come.
Penny, bring your ball. You want to bring your ball? You want to bring it over? No?
Hey, come. No.
Come on.
Good girl. Good girl.
Anyway, so yeah, the fuel system, we're still having issues with fueling up. With it spilling, it's probably just due to a clogged, what do they call it, an evaporator or something. Anyway, the system itself, the fuel system isn't holding pressure. So they bring it up to, I think it's about 50 pounds of pressure. And you shut the engine off, you should at least keep about 30, it's an old car. It's not going to hold like it did when it was a new car. Currently holds 0. So you turn it off, so that's got to be fixed. So that comes out to a grand total of about $5,000.
Well, but included in that $5,000 is we have to get new tires, which I'm really excited about because we have no idea where those tires have been, where they haven't been.
They're cracking
and so we get 6 brand new tires. But he did tell us that one thing that we have to be really careful about is if we ever replace those tires to not get passenger
vehicle tires.
Passenger vehicle tires and to get commercial tires because
10 ply or better.
Okay. because they said that if you're passenger tires and you put them on a bus, then they're gonna pop under the weight. So that was good to know. And they were also getting an oil change. Did they say anything about the AC unit under the bus?
They did not. So there's also an AC unit, and given the scope and cost of all the other stuff, we might not be able to have it removed. It might just be a thing that comes with us for a while.
Yeah, because we were hoping, because there's an entire AC unit under the bus, but the previous owner like cut the lines, right? So it's not technically going anywhere, and we want as much storage space as possible, and so we were hoping that they could remove that whole unit under the bus, but
unfortunately. So about $5,000, including tires, which is about 1,000 of it, because commercial load-ready tires are a bit more expensive than like a passenger tire. And it's actually really important if you do want to do a bus project, a sprinter project, is most online videos are misleading about some of the work that's involved. Most vehicles you see have probably had a lot of mechanical work that they're not telling you about.
yeah.
Just the truth of old cars, right? Like you can't buy a car from 20 years ago and expect it to fire up with no issues like a car from 3 years ago. It just isn't reality, especially for non-diesel engines. So this is kind of our cautionary tale of this is bring it to like a proper mechanic with a lift, light, the testing stuff. Because had we known that, we would have probably paid less. Like we didn't realize it needed so much work.
Yeah.
We're kind of in it, so you gotta keep going.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is that before you buy a vehicle, if you're thinking about like doing the camper van or bus life or whatever, is make sure that you actually have mechanics out there who will work on your vehicle. We had the hardest time finding someone who would work on a 2001 Chevy Express 3500 cutaway bus version. We probably called 10 places. We looked up like 20, 30, 50. And
the reason why is the vehicle's longer than a lot of bays, right? Like your Jiffy Lube or something isn't really going to cut it. The reason why is, let's say their bay is 18 feet long, just as an example. Varies shop to shop. Our vehicle is 21 feet, which is actually a pretty short bus. Now, let's say you have a 40-foot bus, you're going to a diesel mechanic, because that's the only people who have that kind of a bay. But then there's top height, right? From the ground to the top of the bus, plus solar panels, so let's add 6 inches, right, is, let's call it 12 feet, 10 feet. Most bays can't work with that because their lifts, once they lift it enough where the tech can get under there, isn't high enough ceiling height. So if you get into one of these projects, just kind of keep that in mind that you're going to need a specialized mechanic. You're going to want somebody who's worked on commercial vehicles too. Like a lot of places really only work on normal passenger vehicles, trucks, cars, small vans. So just keeping those things in mind, right? It's going to cost a lot more than you're expecting. You're going to be putting a lot more mechanical work, which is kind of unfortunate on our end because had we known, we could have got a better deal. It's going to take you longer than you expect for myriad reasons. I've been working the majority of the time we've been on this bus, so we can only work on it on certain weekends. And over the summer, I broke my foot, so we lost 2 months.
Well, and then there's also the weekends that I have weddings, and so
it takes a lot more time than you think, right? And so it's like if you just don't have that kind of time to commit, based on our experience, just buy one already built. And that's kind of the thing. Like it's the dream DIY. It's a lot of work. It's really frustrating. And if you just don't want to do it, that's cool. Buy one already built.
I would only suggest that you do a DIY project like this if one, you have experience of doing it and you know what you're doing. 2, you have a lot of time and you're not crunched on time. And 3, if you have a lot of finances. Okay, what's the next question?
Okay, not really. Yeah, it's kind of a question. So the next thing is electrical. So originally we were going to do it ourselves. We have schematics to work with. I'm not going to post those because you can find them yourselves.
Well, where did you find them?
I found most of them on a company called Explorist. They actually do really good.
Explorist?
Okay. They do a lot of really good DIY stuff. They have a lot of good resources.
Cool.
But for us, we don't have the time to do it right.
Yeah.
It's really stressful, especially with like all the other things happening, and we don't have the time to do it correctly quickly. So we're hiring a company called
Phoenix School Buses with a K. Skool. Over in what? Mount Pleasant, Texas.
And so they're going to do the work for us. They've done tons of them. It's faster.
And they work on school buses specifically too, which is nice.
Yeah. And so we'll film some of that. Other updates, just so, we talked about the delays with my foot. Among other things, holidays, family birthdays, the works, the usual stuff everybody kind of runs into. The only other...
Was it just your foot that delayed us?
I think so. Because I didn't have hernia surgery last year, but y'all didn't have to really sit through any of that because that kind of healed up by the time we started. But anyways, the only other update we have is we are doing a kind of a Chicago trip in a few weeks. We're going to film that. So you can look forward to that being posted soon. We'll post it when we post it.
If y'all have any ideas of what we should do in Chicago, you can
leave a comment.
Yeah, comment below and let us know.
Also, for the YouTube algorithm, commenting below, the like button is...
Smash the like button.
Where is it? Over here or over here? So there's a like button. It's somewhere here. You'll figure it out. So you click on it and do all the engagement things that make YouTube think we're more successful than we are. Yeah, just thanks for watching. Watch our other videos, especially if you get a chance. It'll be somewhere over here. We went to Hawaii a few weeks ago. We were actually pretty proud of that video on how it turned out. And yeah, we'd love for anyone who hasn't seen it to get a chance to watch it. So that being said, thanks for watching.
Bye.